Welcome to another episode of the Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valera. On today's episode, I'm bringing on a special guest to break down two shows that we watched or currently watching and maybe dive a little bit into some other reality TV information. But from the Your Reality Check podcast, I have Jessica joining me today. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Ricky. How are you doing?
I'm excited to chat with you. I love having other people in this reality TV world. It's such a vast environment, but also filled with a lot of great people that are covering content. And I really appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting all things reality and the chaos of it all.
Exactly. And it's crazy to me because like I started this podcast like 2 years ago and I was like, I already watch a ridiculous amount of reality TV. Why not make content about reality TV? And
Yeah.
it's provided to be very fruitful. You get to talk to a lot of people. And then the fun thing is like reality TV is seen from different perspectives. You know what I mean? Like I could really like a character that you really hate and vice versa. And it's like that's the cool thing when you're scrolling through. And I don't remember how I saw your first content. I was like, you had said something, and I think it might have been $1 Million Secret, but I was like, that's an interesting perspective. I don't see it the same way, but
Mm,
to me, it's different from watching a movie. I come from a movie background where you're watching movies and you can have different perspectives and you feel like this person is 100% wrong for that perspective. But reality TV, it's quote unquote reality, obviously. Let's quote
yeah,
unquote it, you know what I mean? Because it's not
exactly.
all reality, but how people can perceive certain things is what makes this space unique and makes each creator different from the other because you can create, videos off of that content. But
Absolutely. I totally agree.
that said, what was your early stages of like what was your introduction to reality TV?
Well, I would say Survivor was probably the very first reality show that I ever watched. And we're talking season one. So, what was that? The year 2000?
Yeah.
I was 9. So, I started off young. And the whole concept of Survivor at the time, there's these people on this island and they're starving themselves, they're not eating. And at the time, $1 million was a lot of money. Not so much anymore, right? That you don't get as the bang for your buck that you do anymore. But the whole concept of it, I loved it and I fell in love with it, and it became an event for my family. We would all gather around the TV. I would have my cousins over, my aunt and uncle, and we would just watch Survivor, and it just became an event. And I loved it, and I still continue to watch Survivor. Don't get me started on the new era though, because it's not my fave, but I would say it started out with Survivor, but then my kind of love for kind of like the love side of reality TV started with The Bachelor and the Bachelor franchise. So paired with Survivor and the Bachelor franchise, two very different reality shows, and that's kind of what stemmed my love for reality up until this day.
Yeah, it's definitely it's interesting, right? And I think that's where you can tell where real reality fans and even podcasters are because you have these competition shows that come out, right? You have the $1 Million Secrets. You have like Extracted on Fox, which I highly recommend. Fantastic show. There's a lot of different shows where these competition shows happen, and there's a lot of cutthroat aspects of the shows that, and even a $1 Million Secret, people don't understand. And to me, that
Yeah.
shows you're not not saying you're not a real reality TV fan, but you're not like an OG fan that understands some of the aspects of the things that go into watching reality TV. If you can remember the days of Johnny Fairplay lying about his
Yeah.
grandma dying, like, that was one of the most crazy moves back in that day.
Iconic.
It was, and it's still something that's talked about 20 years later, and it's like, these things happen. If we're playing for X amount of dollars, cutthroat aspect of competition is gonna happen. Like, you have to, "Oh, this person is evil or this person's vile." No, they're not. You're
Yeah.
playing for money. Like, it's crazy to see the balance. It's like, go watch some of the OG reality shows. Like, the Netflix universe is their fans of the reality TV universe are very sheltered. A lot of them haven't watched some of like when you watch The Trust and now with $1 Million Secret and some of these other like even Battle Camp now, there's a lot of people getting hate on Battle Camp. I'm like, we're playing for $250,000. And it was different a $1 Million Secret, right? You're playing for $1 million. Like
Yeah.
That's life-changing money. It might not be, "I can go retire money," but it's still
I
life-changing money
agree.
for anybody.
And I think too with us that have like I call us reality lifers, I look at reality shows from the production side of it all and the production lens. And when I'm watching these shows, let's take The Traders, for example. There's when I'm watching the show, there's a clear pattern of when people come into the breakfast every single morning. And I always say, oh, there's always a trader that walks in first. And so you look at the production aspect and you look at the patterns, the consistent patterns that you're constantly seeing I have to give it to, the contestants on Million Dollar Secret. It was a show that they've never seen before. So, they didn't really have that much to go off of, but I do think a show that has seasons that, you have reference that, you can look at press strategies, just little things of like, what does maybe production plan or what are they trying to achieve? I feel like I don't know if I'm giving myself too much credit, but I feel like I could be pretty good on a reality show. I guess it depends what one, because I'm watching it from a production side and a production point of view.
Yeah, because people forget, like, these shows, you're filming so many
Yeah,
hours, and you see very much little. So the narrative structure of things are gonna be altered, and that's where, like, "Oh, is this scripted?" I'm like, "No, it's just edited really well to make you believe X, Y, and Z." You know what I mean? And you have to see that aspect. And you're right, like, with Million Dollar Secret, I like, this show, does Million Dollar Secret have, quote, unquote, "holes"? Absolutely. There
100%.
was there was the things, and I wanna I'll pick your brain about it, but when you're watching Million Dollar Secret, early on, what were kind of your initial thoughts about the show?
I think at first I didn't have high hopes. I think at first I was kind of like, it'll probably be okay. And I think at first, I mean, I think it started off kind of slow. But then after I would say once Sam became the millionaire, I think things really picked up and us as viewers could actually see what is possible. And I mean, I think poor Phil was done dirty. So I think it all just like depended on who was the millionaire. I do think, like you said, there's some work to be done. I think it was a great concept. I think maybe just executionally, it could have been done a little bit better. Now, if I had to look at execution, I would say Million Dollar Secret was way better executed than Gotta Get Out, because Gotta Get Out, I mean, I'm sure we'll get to that in a second on, I know you have strong thoughts about it. But I just felt like that was maybe a good idea, but the execution was very like not even subpar. It was a good idea, you know? But
Yeah.
I do think I loved Million Dollar Secret, and I do think if they have I hope they would have a season 2. I hope that they're able to kind of take the learnings of the successful millionaires, and I think for me what the biggest hole was the lack of consistency with the clues. And I think sometimes we had clues about the actual millionaire, but then sometimes we had clues about what the millionaire had to do, right? Like
Their
the
agenda.
scream.
Yeah.
That was just such a telltale sign. And the poor guy, like he had no hope. So I think I'm looking for more consistency, I would say. And I think it was a good test run. And I think they can take the success millionaires and hopefully use that for season 2.
Yeah, to me, I think that's where you fix it. I think the clues need to be more oriented towards the millionaires and less about the agendas, because the agendas give it almost right away on some.
100%.
Some it didn't, some it did. But I feel like if you consistently make it towards, because that means you have to pay attention from the beginning, right? You know what I mean? And even talking to the cast, it was like when you find out about the secret agendas, you're on high alert the entire time. That's what makes this different. That's what makes this show better, because again, it's just not, you could coast. Obviously,
Yeah.
we see that people all the reality shows. You saw it on The Traders. We've seen it on back-to-back seasons of The Traders. People coast from start to finish. They don't provide nothing to the table. They're just there. Now, there is people that coast early on and then are successful, like Cara, even for instance. She was very much in the middle for the
Yeah.
first, I'd say even 5 until she became the millionaire. I
Yeah.
think that she was like,
I didn't even talk about her because I was recapping the show. I didn't even talk about her until she was the millionaire. And I remember when she was the millionaire, I'm like, why her? We haven't seen her at all. And she killed it.
yeah, exactly, and that's to me, like, I do agree with you, like, you made a perfect point of, like, the show was alright, but then s when Sam became the millionaire, she was brilliant
Yeah.
as the millionaire, absolutely brilliant as a millionaire, but I do think that there's a few things I'd fix. One, I think all clues should be centered around the millionaire because, again, that is part of your game plan. You're getting around, you're getting to know people,
Getting to know
especially early
people.
I have to, "Hey, Jessica, like, what do you do for a living?" Or, "Hey, what do you" this and that, and to me, I don't there isn't an alliance factor into this show, which is fine, but, like, they didn't last very long. They, for some reason, all, like, crumbled. There was an apparent alliance between Kara and Corey, and I didn't even know they even liked each other because you
Until
never
the
even
last episode.
I didn't even know they were close, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, "Hey, thanks." But I did like the wide range of people that were on the show. I have one switch. I've been pitching this idea to everybody, so I'm gonna pitch it to you too.
Let's hear it.
I pitched it well, actually, I pitched it to Kyle. Kyle loved it too when I talked to him, but I think you start the show because 1 briefcase for $1,000,000 is interesting. So,
Mhm.
I was like, "What if you have either 3 or 4 briefcases?" They have $333,000 or $250,000 in it. Some sort of incentive because once you eliminate somebody from being the millionaire, what the fuck's the point? So
Yeah.
if you eliminate a millionaire, all it does is it shifts the money into the other millionaires' baskets, or briefcases. And again, it could shift. It could shift at any time to somebody else. But if you have like 4 $250,000 boxes, your incentive is to make it to the end and have 1 briefcase for $1,000,000, which means you're eliminating all the millionaires. Something along those lines, because then, of course, then you would have like 4 different people, or you could have like 2 of the millionaires are having to do secret agendas. Some sort of element where eliminating the millionaire adds money to the pot, or it's
I agree.
start with
Some
like a
sort of
base of
incentive.
500, right? Start with a base of like $500,000, but if you eliminate a millionaire, it goes to $600,000. Or there has to be some sort of incentive to eliminate the millionaire other than to move the box. Because to
Yeah.
me, I understand the moving of the boxes because you want to be the final millionaire. That to me is something along the lines that gives you an incentive to eliminate or to get rid of the millionaires because all it does is move the box. And I don't really like that concept at all.
Yeah. I think too that's something else that was missing was just like the lack of incentive.
Mhm.
And I think when stakes are so high, like $1,000,000, there needs to be incentive. And there needs to be like, oh, you didn't get this, or you missed the millionaire, you missed the target, then you're gonna lose money. Or oh, you got the millionaire out, then great. Now you're gonna gain more money. And because I feel like there wasn't an incentive. Like, I don't remember who it was. Was it Chris when he said, oh, I don't know. Like, we all know that it's Phil, but I don't know if we're ready to get rid of the millionaire because, if we already know it's him, then what's the point? So
Yep.
that's not fun for us as viewers. We want there to be like there needs to be stakes. There
Or
needs
if
to be
like you
a
don't
lot of
eliminate the millionaire gets a kill shot.
boom.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
like the whole because again, like even with because the whole eliminating of Lydia would make no sense, really, at the end of the day. We know she's not the millionaire, but we're gonna get rid of her anyway. I get it to a point because it's like, oh, we're getting rid of somebody that has like quote unquote insider information. But as we saw with all the agendas, they always change. So the insider information is only gonna go so far. But
Yeah.
to me, like again, or that, you know what I mean? Hey, you eliminate a millionaire, nobody's gonna get kill shot. Like there's a double elimination if you don't eliminate a millionaire because and that adds the element. I love the 8 episode aspect. They didn't drag it out to 10.
Agreed.
8 episodes. Please start dropping these. Netflix needs to get better at dropping their stuff weekly. I love the weekly binge because obviously as creators it makes it easier for us.
Yes.
Because like Got to Get Out, Vanderpump Villa, Battle Camp, all of these shows dropped it like within the week of each other, and it was 10 episodes apiece, all dropped at one time, and it's like
It's a lot.
it's a
It's a
lot.
lot.
You know what I
And you
mean?
know what's funny? Because when Love is Blind came out, however many, 5 years ago, and I remember that was probably one of the first shows on Netflix that they dropped in batches weekly. And I
Yep.
remember being like, "No, this is why we have streaming. We have streaming to binge it and to watch it all at once." And now, fast forward 5 years later, I appreciate that format, particularly because now I'm talking about it and because I'm like, "Oh my god, now I have to watch all these episodes." And I feel like too, when a whole season comes out at once, you have to keep up. You have to keep up with everyone and watch it, or else you're going to see spoilers,
Yep.
and or else you're going to be late about talking about it, and
Mhm.
it's not going to be relevant anymore. So I find it puts a lot of pressure on us to watch everything in one seating, and it can be a lot. But I would say this, I like the batch format. Like, I'm cool if you want to batch 2 episodes at a time. But I will say, Gotta Get Out, thank goodness. That was just a one
There
season
is
bump, because
yeah.
I could not have handled watching that in batches. I just couldn't.
Yeah, let's speak a little bit about Got to Get Out. So, I'll be completely honest. So that's one show, it was spoiled for me,
Mm.
because I didn't watch it right away. The 10 episode, I basically weighed my options. I was like, I could watch this. I was like, I could watch this, or I could watch this. So I decided not to watch it. It got spoiled for me. I watched the first 3 episodes and I said, "I'll never watch this ever again." It just to me, it was so bad. I think the
Yeah.
concept was interesting,
Yeah.
but I know you finished it, right?
I finished all 8 episodes. I did 4 episodes in one night, 4 episodes in the other night. I got it over and done with.
Is it something that do you think there's enough quality from it that maybe they can make some changes to bring it back, or is this something that you should think is just be one and done?
I I like the idea. I like the idea of, okay, you're all locked in a house. I like the idea of there being celebrity, like, reality people, like Spencer Pratt. Loved seeing Spencer Pratt. I think by day 5, Spencer Pratt was over it, and I don't think he wanted to be there anymore. But I think there were a few things from it that I do like. What I do think is it was nearly impossible to get out of the house. I would say nearly impossible only because one person got out of the house over the 10 days. With that watchtower, you're not getting out of that house. So I think if they're going to look at a season 2, they need to get rid of that watchtower because it's literally impossible. I mean, it does allow for people to have to strategize, which we didn't see a lot of doing. Like, if someone is known for being at the watchtower, then you can group up with them and say, okay, if you're going to be at the watchtower, then let me leave. And then maybe they have to pair up with someone that's at the button. So I guess it's like kind of, you can kind of be strategic, but I just think there's so many flaws. And I think by the end of it, 2 people left because I think they were just like, I'm done. I don't want to be here. And I just think by the end of it, there was 20 people that started. I have issues with that. Way too many people. Way too many people. I also have issue with the fact that it was a 10 celebrities, 10 reality celebrities, and then 10 either normies or maybe like one of the guys, Gino, he was on Big Brother Canada. So he was on a reality show, but he was considered the normie. I just think when you're paired celebrities that like probably have a lot more money than these normies. There's not a lot at stake, maybe for the celebrities, but there is for the normies. And so I have issues with that. And I think there's a lot of work to be done. I really do. It was tough to get through, to be very honest.
Yeah, I'm sitting there watching it, I'm like, the first even the first episode, I'm like, "What the fuck is the point of this show?" Like, what are we doing here? Like
And the frustrating thing too, I would say, is there's 20 people. So at the end of the show, there were 16 people left that split the prize pot. Everyone walked away with 40 grand. Okay? And then we know that they get taxed half. So you're telling me that I, as a viewer, need to be excited for these people leaving the show with 20 grand apiece? No, thank you.
yeah. Yeah, I once I saw the winner thing, the dynamic of the money, I was like, I'm glad I didn't finish this." Like, it's just like, this
You didn't miss much.
yeah, it's awful, and it's like, I don't yeah, I'm glad I didn't waste my time. Speaking of wasting our time, The Valley. Uh, um,
Not a waste of time. The Valley
no,
is
no.
gold, I would
It
say right now.
I would say to me, obviously we're 3 episodes in, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about it, some of the aspects of it. Um, all right, I'm gonna put you on the hot seat real fast, actually,
Okay.
before we dive right into the so we're into season 2. There's a lot of different dynamics. Who I'll give me like your top 2 favorite characters
Mm,
and 2 least favorite, and you can't name Jax for least because that's too easy.
okay. That's okay, fair. I'm gonna say I think Kristen is in her redemption era on the Valley. I know you're watching Vanderpump Rules from the beginning, and that is where she coins her name, Crazy Kristen. She is the complete opposite of Crazy Kristen on the show. I'm loving her. I really am. And I think the fact that Kristen is the voice of reason for all of these people is gold. I love it. I love it for her. I don't know if I'm sure you've seen, she's thriving. She's soon to be mom.
Yep.
So I'm really happy for her. And I would say, I mean, I gotta go with Brittany because Brittany has been through the ringer and I can only feel for her. And I think everyone can have opinions on, well, why did you stay and this and that? Put that aside. I think she has gone through so much. And I think what really struck me with her in last week's episode, so episode 2, is when she was like, okay, I know Jax is going to be away for 30 days. I can be at ease. And that really struck a chord with me. Like, wow, this poor girl, like, she's gone through, we saw like the way that he talked to her on camera in front of their son. So I can't even imagine the stuff that he says, does, treats her behind closed doors. So I got to go with my girl, Brittany. So 2 girls, my faves. And then I guess, I mean, Jesse, he's feeling icky. He's feeling icky. And I don't know who to believe. After this episode with the Jesse and Michelle drama, I mean, I think Jesse's making up stuff. I don't think both of them are telling the truth. I think both of them are at fault, honestly. So I'm gonna say Jesse, he's annoying me. And to be honest, I'm gonna say Michelle because she's kind of annoying me too.
Yeah, I don't blame you for those. To me, like, so the only I would be close to picking Britney. The only thing I hated, and I think that the producers are to blame for this, was when Jax was packing basically to go to the thing, right? And I'm not, this is not me defending Jax at all. This is me more defending like the fact that the producers kind of sucked in this situation. I hated that she kind of kept poking the bear, and I almost felt like, why were you in the build? Why are you in the house? To me, it's
Yes.
like, take yourself out of that situation. And I feel like a lot of that is just based off of like, because even whenever Jax is like, get these cameras out of here. Like
Yeah.
at some point, I understand the purpose of the show, right? You're filming these people's real lives. And it's like, there's certain things that we really don't need to see almost. You know what I mean? Like, and to me, that
Yeah.
whole dynamic was, I think it made Britney look bad per se, not in a terrible light. I just felt like she was almost poking the bear, and it almost felt like like scripted poking the bear almost. It's like, "Hey, keep
Yeah.
talking to Jax." It's like, "No, just get her the fuck out of the house or
I
get him out of the
agree.
house."
And even to putting Cruz in
Mhm,
that environment, I even remember saying and thinking it like, why would he be in that environment?
mhm,
Why is he like, I just feel like the poor kid, we know too, he was recently diagnosed with autism. So the poor kid, I just think he needs to be so protected more than ever. And even just being around these cameras and then coupled with, seeing his dad yelling and throwing chairs and stuff. I do very much agree with that. And I was even thinking, I was like, why is Brittany putting herself in this house? First of all, this is their shared house. And good for her for leaving. I
yes.
don't wanna spoil anything for you because I know you're watching Vanderpump Rules
That's
and you
alright.
haven't got into season 10, but it's kind of foreshadowing because 2 of the couples, or sorry, one of the couples ends up breaking up, but they're under the same roof for over a year. So, I'm glad it was in that situation. I'm glad she got herself out of it, but I do agree. Why did she have to go back in that house. If she wanted to, I guess she's an adult, she can make those decisions. But why did you have to bring your son in that house? I had issue with that.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, I love the Kristen. Kristen obviously is one of the two people I would pick. I do love, like, even whenever, when Jax is like, if Kristen's coming over to tell you that you suck at life, you might as well, fix your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different. And now I will say Kristen did, spurn me the wrong way whenever she went to have tea with Jesse. That pissed me off. But I'll tell
Yeah.
you. But that said, Kristen's got to be one. And see, and I don't know what it is. I have a soft spot for Michelle. And I know she's lying in certain things, but I just think that I feel the same way about Jesse and Michelle's relationship as Jax and Brittany's.
Yeah.
The way that he acts on camera, I can only imagine how he acts off camera. To
Yeah.
me, and that's and Michelle, I like I said, I have a soft spot for Michelle, and I think it's just because of how much of a big piece of shit Jesse is.
Yeah.
That dude, I try to give people as creators, you try to give the benefit of the doubt to certain people and how things are edited, how things are done. Because even in the first episode of season 2, he's sitting there like, "Hey, Jax, you really need to get some help." And it's like, "Oh man, like maybe Jesse has turned the corner." And then by the end of the episode, he's like poking the bear saying, I'm moving here just to piss off Michelle. And I'm just saying that to piss off. And it's like, dude. And it's like, "Oh, I'm trying to be my best and we're having a tea party and I'm trying to get along with Kristen and I'm apologizing to Kristen." And then the next minute, it's like, "I'm telling everybody Michelle's sleeping with a billionaire." Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Oh.
Oh, I just wanna punch him in the fucking face. I just I fucking hate Jesse
He
with a
makes me
passion.
so mad.
Like,
I don't know. I don't remember how I felt about him in season 1 because that or even like a lot of the cast that I felt like it was a year ago, so it was a long time ago, but now I'm just like this guy, he needs to go. He needs to go and it's funny because obviously he's planning this Barbara trip. Planning. We know obviously production was like, "Hey, you take the lead on this."
yeah.
And that is gonna be a hot mess. A hot
Yeah,
mess.
that
Let
was
me
the
ask
only
you
thing.
this,
Yes.
actually.
Uh-oh.
How do you feel about Michelle going around Dave& and Buster's to be like, "Jesse needs to get a hotel."
That was a bad on Michelle. I think Michelle should
Mm,
have got the hotel. I think because it is Jesse's trip.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and I get where she's coming from, but I'm like, you could have easily just said, "Hey, I'm gonna get a hotel,"
yeah,
instead of like making people pick sides, because I felt like that was kind of like petty. Also, kind of shows you where people's heads are at. But also, like, I do agree with some people saying, like, "Hey, Jesse's the one that invited me." So like I'm gonna be I might not be team Jesse, but I'm team Jesse in this scenario.
yeah,
I
I agree.
it was the only thing that I've seen through 3 episodes where it kind of made me mad. I do think that Aaron, right? Her boyfriend Aaron,
Yeah.
that dude, I'm sorry, but he should shut the fuck up. And I
Why
mean
was
that.
he
And
there?
why is he? Because at first he really pissed me off whenever when Jesse and Michelle are talking about their kid. Aaron, your job is to shut the fuck up. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Like, your job is like, you were just a boyfriend. Your job is to shut the fuck up, and you should. And I didn't understand, like, why. Like, again, it's drama. That's the reason it's there. Can we just get it out whether or not Michelle did or didn't cheat, whether Jesse did or didn't? Can we just put it on the table already? I'm tired of like the maybe Jesse said he cheated. Michelle cheated. Michelle, but we've never, I don't think, and I could be wrong, I don't think we've heard Michelle say I've cheated on him.
no,
And he
no,
claims that she said it off camera now.
yes,
So it's like, can we get some sort of confirmation? And again, I'm sorry, but the Jesse that I've seen on my TV for the last year and a half, I'm not saying cheating's right, but I don't blame her. Okay.
yeah,
Sorry. Not saying it's right, but I do
yeah.
not blame her. But
I that guy, there's Jax, and Jax is a whole other level, but then Jesse is right up there with him, honestly.
he's a gaslighter. I think he
Yeah.
is a manipulator, and I feel like, and even you hear that in the episode, like, Michelle was like, "Hey, like, I'm wearing makeup. Like, I wasn't allowed to wear makeup." Like, allowed? Like, he didn't allow her to like, come on. Like, if there's like little small telltale signs when in a relationship like that, you start to hear the victim start to unpack the things that she went
Went
through
through.
and is now able to be her free version of herself. Like, listen to her. And that's to
Yeah.
me is like where there's a people that bash Michelle. I'm not saying she's a perfect person. There's things that she does that really you can be like, hey, no, like you are just as bad sometimes as he is when it is the gaslighter. But think about what she went through to become that person that she is. Because even last year during the season, she wasn't like this. She wasn't manipulative. She
No.
wasn't calculated. She wasn't, no, she's on a mission now to make everybody see what she went through. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like, and there is in a way because like the kids involved, but the difference between Brittany and Jax, like the kids actually not present in their argument. So that's nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
agree. I think the one thing during this episode when Jesse was talking about the honey and, "Oh, we've had this honey in our cabinet for 2 years, da 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 da." I think I was like, "Okay, fair." Even if it was a year and a half and this, I think that connection is, and maybe she wasn't full blown cheating,
for sure.
but I do think that timeline of, oh, the guy's honey company is just conveniently
Yeah.
sitting in your cabinet, to then her being with the guy that owns the honey company however many years later, I think, okay, the math is mathing. And I do agree to your point. I think she was just in a really bad situation. And I think, unfortunately for her, it was just not a situation that she was able to maybe just get out of. And I'm glad that they're done. Like, thank goodness they have both just separated and they're done. It's just this show is so, you gotta love Bravo
Yeah.
because as uncomfortable as I'm sure it is, they have to work together, which is a
Yeah,
recipe for disaster.
it is, and it's like, at some point, it's like, can they just get divorced
Yeah,
and go about this like, obviously, they're gonna be connected for at least, the next 13, 12, 14, however many years it is with, the kid, but it's like, at some point, it's like, can we just get a divorce and move on with our lives almost? You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's that, but, I mean, for them, it's entertaining TV. Speaking of entertaining TV, I wanna talk about Janet for just a second, who,
oh,
her
Dave
I
and
would've
Buster's.
I would've watched an entire episode of her at Dave& and Buster's.
I know. It was good. It was pretty
Like,
good.
because first off, you had the element of, "Holy shit, Janet knows what Dave& and Buster's is." You know
I
what I
know.
mean?
I know.
And
And
then
then
her
too,
three-step process.
she has a fanny pack, a Dave and
It's like,
Buster's fanny pack.
dress for success, scope the prizes. Now I said this before, but, like, her scope of prizes and my scope of prizes are 2 different things because, like, she was going for, like, the drone or whatever it was,
The
like,
Dave and
25.
Buster's drone.
Yeah, 25 bazillion tickets, like, you'd have to like,
Yeah.
I know how much Dave& and Buster's cost, so to get that drone, she would have had to been there for quite a while and, spending a lot of money, but, I loved every element. I loved the element of, like, the people that, because then you got the element of, like, nobody even knew what Dave& Buster's was, like, they thought, like, the place was, like, some private, place that they can go play games. I would have loved to see like Jesse roaming around Dave and Buster's playing games, or you know, uh, any of these characters playing that with like
Yeah.
common people, like
Yeah.
the everyday person. Just, oh
I
look,
I I thought it was interesting that they didn't there was other people there. Can you imagine being at that Dave and Buster's at that place in that time and watching this whole thing go down? You're just a patron, a bystander, and
yeah.
you are seeing Michelle crying in the corner at Dave and
Yeah,
Buster's.
because it wasn't like they were in because they had a private area. Like Dave and Buster does have a private, and that's where like their party was at. But where she was crying was like where just like everyday Joes were just kind of casually walking around. And to me, it's like, I will say this: I do give Jesse slight credit for how he did bounce back from the $1,500 a night thing with Michelle sleeping with a billionaire,
Yeah.
whatever. I do love that he's like, oh, the only reason I said it was because we knew there was a rat in our chat. We needed to figure out who the rat was. That was brilliant.
Yeah, it
But also,
was.
again, it kind of shows how, hey, he's pretty good on his feet. And he's like, again, with the detective work of the honey in the cabinets, you know what I mean? Like, he does lay his groundwork.
He's a sleuth, a modern day
Yeah,
sleuth.
exactly. But, that whole dynamic was hilarious to me because Danny, first off, look, the
Mm,
number one rule of any chat, not just boys chat, it's girls chat, it's whatever chat,
stays in the chat.
stays in the chat. 2, who is Luke dating or engaged to in real life now? They're not engaged yet on the show. It's Kristen.
Yeah.
Who has the biggest mouth of anybody in this group?
That has never changed.
No.
No.
So it's like, hey, Danny probably shouldn't have told Luke that. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know why he would have told Luke.
of all people.
I don't know. And but here's the thing too, is he tells Luke,
Mhm.
and then Danny says in one of his confessionals, "Oh, I told him in confidence." But you're filming a show. Like that, I don't understand the concept of him saying, "Oh, I told him in confidence." You have cameras all around you. You know that's gonna make it to air. So whether or not Luke ran and told Kristen
We would
and
have watched it
Brittany
back.
or watching it back, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand that at all.
Yeah. It was hilarious. Like, just the whole dynamic was funny, and then, Jesse was pissed, and then Danny's pissed at Luke. I'm like, "Why are you mad at Luke? You're the one that opened your mouth." Like, it ain't Luke's
I
fault.
know.
Again, you told the one person that you probably shouldn't have told of all the guys on the show, because if he says something to Kristen, it's gonna be out to the world. You know what I mean? Like, the entire world's gonna know about
How funny was it
it.
when Justin was like, "Oh, thank gosh, I'm not in that group chat because I have an Android."
Yes. First off, I did judge him for having an Android, but,
Agreed.
yes, I mean, whenever I'm in a group chat and I see green, I just wanna kick the person out that makes it green. Just
But I'm like,
know.
there's WhatsApp. If they wanted to be inclusive, they could
Yes.
use WhatsApp, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't really know if I blame him for not wanting to be in that group chat after that. So,
Fair.
it'll be interesting to see what happens at Santa Barbara. That's surely lining up to be quite a lot of drama.
It's gonna be a hot mess.
Yes. What other shows are you watching? Do you have anything on your eye on? Do you watch the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives? Or
No, I
so
don't. So one thing about kind of me and like my reality TV, let's just say experience, is I started out, like I said, watching competition reality. And so I always, always, always have just stuck to watching competition reality. I just love the competition aspect. It wasn't until 2 years ago that when Scandival happened, everyone was talking about it. And I was like, what is this? Like, I need to know what this is. So I started watching Vanderpump Rules. That was my first in on kind of like the other side of reality that I look at, more of like the Bravo side. And I started watching Vanderpump at season 10. And then I went I watched season 10, I went back to season 1, and then I watched it to the end, and obviously now I watch The Valley, but that's kind of my in on the other side of reality shows. So I've watched Secret what is it?
Secret
Mormon
Wives
Live.
of Mormon Wives?
I've
Yeah.
tried. It's not my thing. But right now, I am starting Battle Camp. I watched very briefly the first episode yesterday, very, very briefly. So I'm starting that. I know I'm late, but it's so hard to keep up with everything because it's like Netflix is dropping, I know in the States, Hulu too, they're dropping so many shows at once, and it's so hard to keep up with it all. So right now, Battle Camp, obviously watching The Valley, and soon we'll have Bachelor in Paradise. That'll come soon. Big Brother will be coming soon, which I'm so excited about, and Love Island will be coming soon. So I'm so excited for my summer shows coming up.
Man, Big Brother, man, it's so hard to watch. I wanna watch it so bad, but
3
there's
days a
just
week.
so much, and that's the biggest reason, and I had regrets on it because obviously as a creator, you wanna be in the busyness, so, like, I missed out on Love Island last year, you know what I mean? I was like, "Damn, I didn't realize how big this show was," and it was like, "Damn,"
Massive.
but that's also another show where it's like, it's a lot, you know what I mean?
Love
Um
Island is on 5, 6 days a week. It's
Ex
crazy,
Yeah.
but it's it's one of, I would say, probably the biggest reality shows. It
Mhm.
has just popped off. After last year's season, I think this season will be even bigger.
Yeah, they better hope to
It's a
bring the
commitment.
yeah, they better bring the people because, they're gonna have a hard time matching the first season. Again, and I didn't watch
Yeah.
it. So, there's an interesting show, competition show that I'm not sure that you're aware of that's coming out here on Fox. It comes out, I don't know, sometime in June, I think maybe it is. It's called The Snake. It's gonna be hosted by,
Oh,
who the hell is hosting this show? I know that face.
I
I just
haven't
gotta
heard of
remember.
it.
Jim Jeffries is hosting it. But basically, the winner gets $100,000. The official description is the winner of each challenge becomes the snake, earning control of the saving ceremony, an explosive chain of reaction elimination where it's not about who you want gone, but who are you willing to save. The snake doesn't hinge on winning challenges, it's about winning people over. The social aspect of the game never stops. Connections are everything where you're making friends, faking friends, or sparking romantic connections. Promises to put the test during the saving ceremony as players do everything in their power to avoid being picked last by the snake, hoping to escape elimination.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's coming out in, it says summer of 2025, but I'm pretty sure it's around June-ish. But
Oh,
it
interesting.
starts with 15 people. It's definitely something that I'm keeping an eye on. There's a few shows I got my eye on. I like watching some of the cooking shows. I'm
Mm.
currently watching. I did watch Battle Camp. I'm already done with that. Valley's weekly. Vanderpump Rules is weekly. I'm watching Vanderpump Villa dropped all at once, but I'm doing it weekly. But it's really bad compared to season one, so I'm not very happy with
What's
it.
Vanderpump Villa? I actually don't know that show.
So, Lisa Vanderpump hosts is like a group of like housekeeping, and it's kind of like Vanderpump Rules, but in like a castle setting almost, where like people like they have guests come in, they have housekeepers, cooks, bartenders, servers, and all these people that are just like trying to make up the place, and they have to compete. Are not really competing for like this season. It's like you're competing to be Lisa Vanderpump's certain pick person. You win $30,000 in a job at one of her places.
Hmm.
Season one was really good. They brought some of season one's cast back, but some of season two is like a lot of new people, and it's trying to like connect some of the dots. So I feel like if they would have done a more Vanderpump Rules aspect where you bring the same people back almost, I feel like it
Mm.
would have been a little bit more interesting. I'm 2 episodes into the second season. It's nowhere near as good. But I mean, it's all right. You know what I mean? It's just like basically Vanderpump Rules, but at like a castle instead, where they're,
Interesting.
yeah. So it's a show.
Yeah.
But and then of course I know Sneaky Links is coming out on Netflix at the end of May. I keep on forgetting that it is now May. Which is
Crazy.
coming on Netflix as well, which are dropping all at once, which just makes me mad. So
Oh, you know what though? I have to give it to Netflix. I'm really enjoying the reality shows that they're putting out. Again, I think they're just probably moving a mile a minute. And so they probably have an idea and they're just like, we need to just get this idea out there
mhm.
and maybe get feelers how it performs. But I like the content, it's good
Yeah.
content for us, but I'm enjoying the Netflix shows. But I agree, they gotta drop them in batches.
Yeah, and a part of me feels like some of this because like Temptation Island was really good. Um,
Oh,
I love Temptation Island.
Temptation Island was incredible. It was so good.
I'm an OG Temptation
Me
Islander, so
too.
oh, awesome. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I remember, like, it was, like, too hot for TV, like, they almost took it off Fox because of how scandalous it was back
Yeah.
in the day, and I'm like, "People, if you thought this season was bad, go watch some of the other seasons." Because I watched it when it was on USA for 2 seasons, and, like, it's a pretty awesome show. I'm glad that it did well, and they're already bringing it back for another season because I do think that
Yeah.
Mark L. Wahlberg is the best host in all of TV.
He is by far the best host in all of reality television. He is like a therapist. He is
Yes.
so good. He plays that he's not even playing a role.
No.
He's so good at what he does. And yeah, I'm happy it popped off. A lot of people I saw online are like, "Oh, this the first season of Temptation Island." I'm like, "No, no.
Yeah.
Little do you know, this was around 20 years ago."
Yep.
20, and then it came back for
Mhm.
5 on USA, and then
There was 2
Netflix.
seasons on USA.
2 seasons on USA,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is, like, technically, I think season 6 or 7 that was on Netflix, technically, obviously, 1st season for Netflix, but, yeah, I'm interested, I'm sure with the summer being here, like, they're gonna be dropping Perfect Match any day now. I think they're gonna be dropping the
Yeah.
release date of that, that's gonna be coming soon, so which is, it's a show.
I'm
Um,
I'm meh on
yeah,
Perfect Match, very
yeah.
meh.
Yeah, I feel like they need to fix that's why I love Battle Camp because that's what they need to be focused on is creating they need to create a challenge like universe. I've been pleading with them for years.
Mm,
Battle Camp, that should be your annual staple. You have enough people in your net in the Netflix universe that you can bring out Battle Camp once a year. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And once you do that, you can have so many different people from because you have so many different reality shows on Netflix. And you saw it like Battle Camp has people from the real estate world to docu-series to, Love is
Squid
Blind to
Games,
the Squid
like, I
Game.
thought
Yeah.
that was so interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts on Battle Camp. All right, before we go, plug your show. Where can people find you on the socials and stuff like that?
So you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at yourrealitycheck.pod, 1 R, your reality. And my podcast is Your Reality Check. So thank you so much, Ricky, for having me with this. Was so fun.
Absolutely. We'll have to have you on again soon. I had a blast chatting with you. We'll have to do like a Valley update and see where you're at with Battle Camp. And I'm definitely interested in Bachelors in Paradise this year. I haven't watched that in like over like 10 years. So I'm definitely
Mm,
probably going to, exactly. Again, it's summertime. So it's like balancing like what shows you, like you have to prioritize things, folks. And it's hard in our space to
yeah,
prioritize stuff, especially when you're not doing this for a living. But if anybody wants to hire us for like permanent, like, we're here. You know what I mean? Just like,
gladly,
you know what I mean?
gladly.
If Nick Vile wants to hire us to just have a podcast on his network, like
I
let's
don't
do
know if
this.
I want to work under that guy, but
Well, look.
if if they can share the millions of dollars, then sure.
Exactly. But thank you so much for joining me, Jessica, and we'll talk to you guys very soon.
Thank you. Bye.